2022 planning session. You've got the mindset, you've got the processes. Let's make it intentional. Hey, this is Martin Taggart, Team Real Estate. We talked about mindset in a separate video. We talked about processes in a separate video. I'm going to leave those alone. Now we're talking about making your game plan intentional. So one of the things I often hear about goal setting for many people is that the idea that you set a goal isn't really that big of a deal. It's not really that important whether you attain it or not. I disagree. I disagree because in my world, in my life, I know where I want to go. I know that I start by being grateful from wherever I'm launching from in any new project or an existing project. But I do know that for my own mindset, I have to reset from time to time and treat something that I've already got underway, like my team, and think about it as a new project. Think about it about the things that I'm truly grateful for, the things that I haven't done the way I should do as a servant leader, and then finally, what are the things that I should absolutely stop doing because they didn't work and because the team evolves, the team grows. So there are things that I did 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, 18 years ago as an agent that don't work today when it comes to leadership, when it comes to servant leadership, when it comes to honoring relationships with people and motivating them, figuring out different ways where we can innovate people to get to where they want to go for their own reasons. So how do I make my business plan intentional? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write it down. Don't trust yourself to remember the 3 time blocks that you have to do daily, right? We talked about the block of attracting new people. We talked about the block of letting people convert themselves by adding value. And we talked about the time block where we continue to retain people over time. If those aren't on your calendar with a set of processes behind each one, get them there. The second thing we want to talk about is back in video 2, we talked about the things I'm going to keep doing because they're awesome. The things that I'm sort of good at that I need to get awesome at or get rid of. And the last category, which are things I need to add or things I absolutely need to stop doing because they're not helpful for me. Those 3 key points, the time blocks and the list, those ought to be a part of your game plan. What else goes into your game plan to be intentional? You're going to find an accountability partner. I have one. You're going to find an accountability partner who's going to hold you accountable to do the things you say you're going to do. Look, these are your goals. They're not mine. If you joined our team, I'm not going to tell you got to do the stuff on the dailies to get to where you want to go. I'm going to help coach you and train you to do those things because they're your priorities, not mine. But I'm also going to help you eliminate those things in your game plan that are not helping you. And I'm going to help you become an expert or help you find an expert that can help you be an expert on the things that you need to do really well. Those things need to happen in order for you to have an intentional plan. Without an accountability partner who's going to hold you accountable on the weekly to get the things done you need to get done, you will fail. How do I know that? Because I love being an entrepreneur. I left the ranks of being an employee almost 2 decades ago. And what I know is holding myself accountable on days when things are difficult is not easy. Some of what helps is me connecting with my friends and knowing that they have bad days as well, and knowing that they get past them because they plan for them. Yes, I plan to have a bad day now or then. I have a little cue card for me when things that aren't going the way I should go. I have a little cue card that I can look at and get me back on track. But I talk to my accountability partner every week with regards to what am I doing. That's important. As far as being intentional, it would also be a good idea for you to get some skin in the game. Maybe with your accountability partner or with your husband, wife, best friend, you agree to put 10 bucks in the pot, 50 bucks in a pot, 100 bucks in a pot every time you don't do the thing you say you're gonna do. How many of you out there were like me? Took you forever to decide that you're gonna lose weight. Oh, you worked out a little bit, I did. You fudged around a little bit with your diet, I did. But at the end of the day, if you told somebody you cared about that you were going to give them $100 every time you didn't go to the gym, would you go? You would if they collected the money, right? Being intentional about your plan means being serious and honest with yourself. Finally, if you're going to be intentional about your plan, man, you gotta figure out a way to celebrate and rejoice in the stuff that's going well. You have to. Every Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I meet a group called the Cool Kids. That's what it's called, for real. I meet them here in town and we talk about the stuff that went right that week. We also talk about things that didn't go the way that we thought they might. It's not a straight up accountability platform. That's not what it is. This is a social event. So we can vent about the stuff that went really well and the stuff that didn't. It's super important to be able to rejoice. I have date night with my wife. Why? Because I like to celebrate the things that are going well with my wife each week. And let's face it, sometimes when things don't go well, I want to be able to set that time aside and say, guess what, Suze? Here's where we're going. We're just going to reconnect. We're just going to make sure we're connected. Being intentional about your plan means you're serious about it, means it's important for you. But let's keep something else in mind. And this is your pro tip, my pro tip. When I feel anxiety about not getting to where I want to go, or I feel worry about not getting to where I know I deserve to be, it's typically because there's a disconnect between my intentions, my expectations, and what I'm doing. The behavior, the actions, does not match the intentions. So I'm out of integrity with myself, and that chasm is where I can absolutely make a difference, because that day I can decide to do the thing I've been putting off. That day I can decide to shoot this video and put myself and my processes out there and feel vulnerable to everybody who's watching this. On that day I can bridge that gap, and every time I bridge that gap, it makes it easier and easier and easier for me to bridge the gap again, because the gap will come up. Vacations, time off, that's not a part of the gap, that's a part of the plan. Vacations or time off are a part of giving yourself the juice. That should be in your actions or your behaviors. Do you plan on 2 or 3 vacations this year? My agents do. Do you plan on purchasing rental property this year? My agents are. Do you plan on spending time with spouses and hanging out with the people that you care about? My agents do. My team does, because I'm not their leader so much as I serve them. They're my clients. So when it comes to making your plan intentional, keep those things in mind. Find yourself an accountability partner. Rejoice in the things that are going well. Be honest with yourself. Start with asking yourself, if I'm not where I want to be, what are the actions or behaviors I haven't taken that I know I should? Be honest. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. It's going to hurt a little bit. At least it is for me. I take it seriously. And decide if that's a gap that you want to cross or should cross, or if it's not. Sometimes what we say we want isn't really worth the things that we might have to do. But most of the time, the things we want, given that they're legal and ethical and all that stuff, most of the time where we want to be, where we want to go, what we want to have, who we want to have in our life, is just an action or a behavior away, as long as we're consistent. Have an awesome day, and remember, 2022 is on the way. Be intentional about your objectives. Life is better with the team.